Hi, thank you for joining us on Goodwin Conversations. I'm Goodwin's chair, Anthony McCusker, and today I'm in our San Francisco office and have the pleasure of speaking with Amy Keller. Amy is a partner in our private equity group and is also the chair of our San Francisco office. Amy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Something I know people love to hear you talk about a little bit is how you grew up on a farm in Kansas. Can you tell us a little bit about growing up?
Sure. So yes, I grew up on a farm outside of a small town in northeastern Kansas, which is, I know, not the most common route to being a private equity lawyer, but it taught me a lot of really great lessons, including hard work, determination, resilience. I have a few formative experiences. My first job was actually picking and selling sweet corn. So I was probably 4.5 feet tall at the time, not much taller now, but probably 4.5 feet tall. And I was carrying a 5-gallon bucket through cornfields, picking corn in 95-degree heat. But it also taught me the value of that and that it can really pay off because the money that my brother and I earned those summers would then pay for, our fun things throughout the year and save for college.
So I understand that you may have started driving a little earlier than most of the rest of us.
Yes, I did. I started driving at 14, so I drove myself to my first day of high school, which is a little unusual.
And how does that work?
Well, in Kansas, and it is amazingly still currently today, if you live on a farm, you can get a farmer's permit. It's called a farmer's permit, or at least it was when I was a kid. And you can drive to school or farm-related activities.
Do you still have the farmer's permit?
I actually do.
Nice. You went from growing up on a farm in Kansas to a high-stakes deal lawyer in San Francisco. What motivated you to go to law school and then choose the path that you've taken?
I was really captivated by some very high-profile criminal cases that really dominated the television when I was a kid. The first being the trial of the LA police officers following the beating of Rodney King. And I don't know, there was something, I didn't grow up around lawyers, and it was just really captivating. It was the first time I really saw the legal process, and that always sort of stuck in the back of my mind as something that I may want to do. Obviously, I didn't go down that path once I learned more about all the different things you can do with a law degree, but that's what originally piqued my interest.
Well, we're certainly grateful for that. It's made for a great career.
Yeah.
So we're in this beautiful office. It's new-ish here in San Francisco. And as office chair of our San Francisco office, you and many of our colleagues had a big role to play in the design and the layout and the beauty of this office. Can you tell us a little bit about what that was like, designing it and helping make it such a wonderful place for our San Francisco colleagues?
Yeah, it was, it's a really amazing experience to be able to craft the space from scratch. We set up a committee that provided feedback on the spaces we were looking at, and then another committee that helped with the design and provided feedback on that as well. And so it was an amazing experience to be able to think about the layout, think about every piece of carpet, every tile, every color palette that would really kind of go into creating the feeling that we wanted to evoke in the office.
Just walking around, it's vibrant. People seem to love it.
Yeah.
I think you all did such a wonderful job.
Thanks.
So we're really appreciative of that. In your work as a private equity lawyer, you advise private equity firms, private companies in, from M&A transactions to buyouts to growth financings. What is it that motivates you to bring your best each day to work?
Yeah, I really like working with the clients. I like working with being able to really sort of build and develop relationships with them and work consistently over time. I like being able to know, kind of anticipate, like, what are their preferences, like, what are their worries, what are they worried about, what are their goals? And that's both, frankly, at the individual level as well as sort of the private equity firm level, and keeping all of those things in mind. And I think it's really fun to be able to build those relationships and then sort of strategize and partner with those clients to sort of achieve their goals for them.
One thing I always hear about you, not to embarrass you a little bit, but one thing I always hear about you is that you are just excellent at building relationships with your colleagues here and with your clients. What are some, tips or strategies that you use to build long-term relationships with colleagues and clients?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot to unpack there, but I would say remember that, like, every touch point, every interaction, every deal is a chance to sort of further develop that relationship. Also keep in mind, these are also just humans at the end of the day. They also have stresses and concerns and fears, and try to connect with them on a human level. The other thing is always being a problem solver. So part of our job is to look around corners, find issues, but it's also to find solutions for them and to really work through and navigate those problems and kind of get to the outcome they're wanting to and just help them navigate through it.
Amy, thank you so much for talking with me.
Thanks for having me.
Really enjoyed it. And thank you for joining us on Goodwin Conversations.